Kotarra, the great spirit conclave of Kotarra. Stay your panic, for no harm shall come to you here. Where is here? Here is everywhere and nowhere. Here is the netherworld. How? I can feel the question forming, as if on your lips. Alas, you have no lips, not here. Here you will listen, not talk. Stay your rage, for it serves no purpose. I have summoned thee. It is I who commands. Your body lies catatonic where it fell, surrounded by panicked retainers, or perhaps deep in slumber next to an unsuspecting lover. Look around you and see the maelstrom of the gray, those glowing red orbs, the eyes of your peers, the very souls of each and every one who calls themselves leaders of men. Through the gray, I see all of Kotarra staring back at me. I can see your souls, those that are weather-beaten and journey-weary, those that have battled honor and fled from it, and those that have hope and who have abandoned it. In all those eyes, I see Kotarra's doom, and I see its salvation. It has taken a year and a day to convene this conclave. No mean feat, I can assure you. I have traveled from Land's End in the west to Wild Man's Bay in the east, from the Cerdaros in the north to the Bloody Bridge in the south, and I have crossed all of your lands. But who am I? My birth name is Teref of Bradovine, but you all know me by another, Malavia Harrowfiend, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of beasts and men. A name that is whispered with sideways glance at the telling of fireside tales in the dead of night. So terrible is the name that its mention alone invokes nightmares. Such terrible names should not be spoken lightly, for they convey an understanding, proliferate a perception, and they reinforce and ingrain it, the psyche, until it becomes truth. Today, you must unlearn the truth. Malavia Harrowfiend is not the only name bestowed upon me. I am known as one of the Mortogrim, a servant and summoner of the defiled, the butcher of Barrowmore, the assassin of Harfang Hall, and many more besides. None of it is true, but I come here not to plead my innocence. I am here to make you understand how the world is changing, and what it is becoming, and what you must do to stop it. First, you must understand, Kotarra is unlike any of the other nations of Aegeron. Kotarra is not a nation. It is not like Sargolia or Numeranth, ruled by kings and queens, divided up by feudal lords. Nor it is like Tygosh, whose people lay ridiculous claim to all beyond it. Kotarra is a frontier, a land of tribes and clans, each forging their own path. This is what makes Kotarra unique. This is both its strength and its weakness. The defiled are not here simply to conquer. They are here to transform all of Aegeron, and once complete, it will become part of hell itself. You think I lie? Each and every one of you has witnessed wanton butchery and savage barbarism since the arrival of the defiled. Most of you have since been responsible for it, some even justifying it, others indulging in it. Believe me when I tell you that I have been to hell, and it is no different there. It is not just our humanity that is being brutalized and eroded, but how we see our world. Look out across Aegeron, and you will see how the transformation is taking hold. In Sargolia, a once sleepy riverside town is now known as Scarport, while a mound of earth now bears the name of Butcher's Hill. In Tygosh, the Moorstone has become Betrayer's Gate. The list goes on across Aegeron, but for reasons unknown, Kotarra is different. Perhaps it is just a matter of time. perhaps because of the actions of Galen Lightsworn, drawing the defiled out of Kotarra and meeting them at Khorne's wall. Regardless, the blight of dark names must be stopped, for eventually they will be the truth, and Aegeron will have been consumed. Let me tell you more of Kotarra and its people. When the defiled invaded Kotarra, they discovered themselves in the wild, unpopulated country, and the long march to populated areas took its toll. Until the invasion, few in Kotarra had been aware of the gates or their number. As many as had located, it's hard to reach across areas revered by the weird, Kotarra's indigenous people. To the weird, the gates are known as dragon stones, and they hold religious significance. The weird use these stones as centerpieces. When they're constructed, there are stone circles, millennia ago, and their warriors continue to tattoo themselves with mysterious runes carved on the stones. Why do they call them dragon stones? I do not know. I've never heard the term before, but I digress. The weird have mostly abandoned their stone circles, and since the defiled arrived, believing they have been sent to punish them. During my travels, I happened on a battle between the defiled and the weird. I saw something that day, something which at first I could not understand, and the significance of which was almost lost on me. The defiled were afraid, something I had never witnessed before. Only now do I understand it. The runes on the dragon stones are more than just the key to opening portals between worlds. They are the source of the fear I witnessed. Seeing the weird warriors clad only in the green runes of the dragon stones was enough to give pause to the rank and file of the legions of hell. The weird were oblivious, believing it was their fierceness in combat that cowed the defiled. Few of you have ever seen the weird, unless you have strayed and stumbled upon a religious ceremony on the day of the sinking sun or night of the cloaking moon. The weird, for the most part, now hide from the world, living in deep in the Barrowlands for thousands of years. Their ancestors constructed great maze-like burial structures, covering them with earth and stone, reclaimed by nature centuries ago. Some are so old and large, it is almost impossible to distinguish between barrows and the hills of the Barrowlands themselves. It is within these barrows the weird have sought refuge, believing mistakenly that their ancestors' spirits will protect them. They emerge only to hunt, and occasionally drive roving patrols of the defiled from their territory. The weird are not the only folk to take to the protection of the earth in Kotarra. In the eastern flank of the Grimvane Mountains, the mines high above the valley, known as Vixen's Run, have become home to those that once lived in the villages and towns in the valley floor. Now they are trapped there, slaves in all but name, and corralled like livestock by the petty warlords that trade food for resources of the mine. The abandoned towns and villages have been reclaimed by nature, or the warlords that roam the mountains, feuding pointlessly over its riches. To the west is the port city of Land's End. It is an abandoned city, shunned by all, even the defiled. If anyone still calls this place home, it is not known to me. I have walked its empty streets in spirit only, and I shivered at the feeling of being watched. But no sign of life was evident. Tales tell in the events unrelated to the invasion, a large ship of unusual design arrived in the harbor. Within days, a terrible plague had swept through the city. The ship still remains in the harbor. Its once bright sails nothing more than wind-whipped tatters, its masts and decks encrusted with the defecation of seabirds. Further north is the smallest Kotarra's ancient fortress cities, Daros. Daros is home to Primus Haru, self-appointed leader of the Aegeron, the so-called lost people of the north. Fear not, Pomerics. I shall not divulge the number of disposition of your troops to the conclave. Like all Kotarra's cares, Daros is an imposing structure of towering stone, whose ancient construction methods are long lost to us. Situated on a naturally defensible position, Caer Daros projects its dominance over the land, and is visible for miles in every direction. The city, however, has no such grand protection, and is surrounded by a series of concentric wooden palisades, towers, and water-filled moats. Palisades of sharpened stakes may keep local bandits at bay, but as many witnessed when Caer fell to the overfiend Blackfist, wooden fortifications will do little to stop the defiled when their host marches from Harfang. Caer Hafang is situated in western Kotarra, on the edges of the Borderlands. From its imposing stone tower hang the banners of living flesh that herald the presence over the overfiend Blackfist himself. The banners are styled on the great cloak worn by the overfiend, which is cut from the flayed flesh from his greatest enemies and those that failed him. From the tower, the banner of 1,000,000 gouged eyes scans the horizon for threats, while the banner of pandemonium screams in cacophony of madness from 10,001 sutured lips. The city surrounding Caer Hafang no longer exists. The wooden palisades, nothing but ash from the fires that slow roasted the residents at the Overfiend's victory feast. For miles, there is nothing but rank and file of the defiled encampments, and a black wasteland whose poisoned waters leach into the surrounding rivers. This is the fate that awaits all of Kotarra. To the east lies Caer, the largest of Kotarra's fortifications and home to Aegeron's most famous son, Galen Lightsworn. You need no history lesson. It is suffice to say that his defeat at Khorne's Wall was a bitter blow for Aegeron. By drawing out the occupying force from Caer, they were destroyed at the breaking of the world, an event that allowed the retaking of the fortress Civis Dern, who is among our number tonight. I am pleased to see the new walls going up around Caer are not the wood of old, but of the hardest basalt from the highlands to the north. The troops of Caer wage guerrilla warfare on the defiled, but it is not enough. The people all across Kotarra must engage the enemy, deny them safe passage, destroy their supply routes, and grind down their numbers. Take to the dark pathways of the netherworld. Now that you have visited it once, what else do you have to fear? The weird hide in the Barrowlands in great number. Harness their strength and learn their ways. Once you do this, you will be ready to meet the defiled in combat when they once again march from Caer Hafang. I fear I have already talked too long. This conjuring will cost me all I have to give. You have heard me talk of Kotarra's doom. I have seen it. Have hope. This does not have to be the doom you imagine, but will be one many of you fear. Kotarra must become a nation. It must rise up as one under a single banner, under one leader. The old Kotarra must meet its doom, and its doom shall be its salvation. Tariff Bradovane, Outcast Magi.